You work hard, you budget, you save. But somehow everyone else always seems to have more. More money, more vacations, more luxury. So I went down a rabbit hole, scouring the internet, reading books, and digging into scientific papers to uncover why some people stay ahead financially while others struggle to catch up. In this video, I'm breaking down my experience and science-backed reasons why money so often feels out of reach and the steps you can take to finally get ahead. It's no secret that people only post their best moments on social media. But influencers and even regular people have taken this to a completely new level. The digital age has made it incredibly easy to fabricate a lifestyle that looks way more glamorous than it actually is. Have you ever noticed how influencers always seem to be traveling? That's because they take hundreds of photos on one trip and spread them over months to create the illusion of constant travel. In reality, they might have only gone on 1 or 2 vacations, but by strategically posting, they make it seem like they're always on the move. This can make the average person feel like they're stuck in place and they're not doing enough. Of course, there are also influencers who do travel a lot, but let's put it back into perspective. Many of these trips are actually gifted or sponsored, which means they barely spend a dime. Brands send influencers on all expenses paid vacations, and in return, they're creating content promoting those brands. It's not real luxury, it's strategic marketing. But because we see these influencers relaxing in 5-star hotels or sipping champagne on a yacht, we assume they must be incredibly wealthy. And it's not just travel, those designer bags, luxury goods, or expensive cars. Many of them are financed, gifted, rented, or even counterfeit. Some influencers openly admit that they use fake designer goods because they look just as good in pictures, while others rent private jets or luxury cars just for the photos. So these days, even someone with an average income can make their life look way more extravagant by just posting their best moments and live by the motto, fake it till you make it. This creates a cycle of illusion where everyone tries to one-up each other in a game that has no real winners. But social media is not the only place where we are confronted with illusions. We probably all know this person. We look at their life and think, wow, they must be doing really well. But let me tell you that 2 people can make the exact same amount of money, but have 2 completely different financial realities. To explain this further, let's take a look at Sarah and Alex again. Sarah and Alex both earn $5,000 a month. Alex always wears designer clothes, eats at expensive restaurants, and takes frequent getaways. Sarah, on the other hand, keeps things simple. She shops smart, cooks at home, and doesn't splurge often. At first glance, Alex looks wealthier. But here's what's actually happening when we look beyond the surface. Alex puts most of his lifestyle on credit cards, thinking he'll catch up later. But with an 80% interest rate, that debt is growing fast. Let's say he carries a balance of $10,000 and only puts the minimum each month. He could end up paying over $17,000 in interest alone, turning that original $10,000 into a $27,000 problem. And that's if he stops adding to the balance. Sarah, meanwhile, isn't just saving, she's investing. Instead of spending an extra $500 a month on unnecessary purchases, she puts it into an S&P 500 index fund. Historically, the S&P 500 has returned around 10% annually. That means in 10 years, her investments could grow to over $100,000. In 20 years, that number could be over $350,000, all from small, consistent investments. Alex's choices are costing him thousands in debt and interest, whereas Sarah's choices are making her hundreds of thousands in long-term wealth. The problem is that we assume that wealth is about what we can see. Nice things, fancy dinners, luxury brands. But real financial security and wealth, that's often invisible. No debt, growing investments, and the power of compounding working in your favor. Next time you catch yourself comparing, ask yourself, are they really wealthy or are they just really good in spending? Because those are 2 very different things. And speaking of comparisons, is comparison itself actually bad? We've all been told, stop comparing yourself to others. Just focus on yourself. I do agree with that statement to an extent, but let's be real. Social comparison theory explains why this is easier said than done. First introduced by psychologist Leon Festinger, this theory suggests that people determine their self-worth based on how they stack up against others. It's a natural, deeply ingrained part of human behavior. So the problem isn't necessarily comparison itself. It's how we react to it. Instead of eliminating comparison altogether, here are some tips that have helped me to shift my perspective. Recognize that social comparison is inevitable. Everyone does it, whether consciously or not. Understand that comparison isn't always negative. It can actually motivate you to improve if used correctly and if you have all the information at hand. Instead of comparing yourself to others, compare yourself to past you. Next time you feel discouraged because someone else is doing better, take a look at your own journey. Where were you 6 months ago? Have you learned something new, saved more money, paid off debt, improved in any way, shape, or form? When you measure your success against your own past, rather than someone else's curated present, you will start to see progress. Social comparison isn't inherently bad, but if left unchecked, it can distort your perception of success and leave you perpetually behind. Now, how can you shift your perspective fully? A lot of people spend years chasing goals without ever stopping to ask if they actually care about them. They grind through jobs they don't love, buy things they don't need, and push toward a version of success that is not even theirs, just because it's what they think they're supposed to do. And don't feel bad if you recognize yourself in what I have just described. Because trust me when I say most people have, including myself. One big learning that I had over the years was the following. Your values shape your version of success. Some people value freedom and adventure, so financial success means traveling the world. Others value stability and home ownership. Some want the fast-paced energy of a big city life, while others feel the happiest on a quiet farm. But if you're not clear on what you really value, you will always feel like you're falling behind, even when you're doing just fine. So ask yourself, what actually matters most to me? What kind of life would genuinely make me happy? Am I working toward my goals, or am I just following what others expect? Once you understand your values, everything gets easier. The pressure to keep up fades, and you will stop chasing a life that was never meant for you in the first place. But how do you actually stop chasing? For the longest time, I was wondering how one of my friends managed to save so much money while I was constantly struggling. We started with the same salary, yet he built his emergency fund and started investing way earlier than I did. But 8 years later, when I started to look beyond the numbers, I realized something important. Our life journeys were completely different. I moved out when I was 18 years old and started to live independent early, paying rent and managing bills. He, on the other hand, stayed at home until he was 24 and saved up thousands with that. I took out student loans to do a semester abroad after completing my apprenticeship, an experience that shaped me in ways money could never buy. And he went straight into an apprenticeship, debt-free and financially stable. He had financial guidance from his family, whereas I had to figure it out all on my own. And along the way, I was making mistakes, but I also learned a lot. I have to be honest, at first I saw these differences as setbacks, but I soon realized neither path was better or worse. It was just different. Every financial decision we make isn't just about money. It shapes who we become. Some of us build wealth early, others build experiences. Some take risks, others prioritize security. But in the end, we all grow, adapt, and find fulfillment in our own way. So instead of asking, why am I not where they are? Ask, how far have I come and what have I learned along the way? Because in the end, real success isn't about having more. It's about living more. But how do you finally start to live more? Have you ever asked yourself, how much money is enough for me? Most people actually don't. That's why they are always chasing more, feeling like they're never doing enough, earning enough, or saving enough. But what if you stop measuring your success by what others have and start defining your own enough? What do you actually need to be financially secure? Write down everything that comes to mind and try to put a number on it. What lifestyle would make you happy? Do you like the buzz in city life? Do you prefer living on a quiet farm on the countryside? Are you working toward financial stability or just chasing what looks good on the outside? When you know your own version of enough, you stop fixating on what others have and start feeling more content with where you are. And to learn more about how to use money as a tool to build the life you've always dreamed of, make sure to watch these videos up here. And if you found this video helpful, it would mean the world to me if you give this video a thumbs up, hit the notification bell as well as the subscribe button, and join the community as it grows. So see you next time. Bye.